Welcome back to Locked on Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow. If you want to become a Locked on Buffs insider, go to the link below in my caption. If you don't know what that means, myself and former Colorado star Jordan Dominic are going to be doing this cool thing where we're going to do film breakdowns. We're going to answer questions that you could text us. We're going to do Q&As. You could text us one-on-one. It's going to be awesome, right? It's going to be a way to connect and talk even more Buffs. So that way you get to learn and know everything you want to know about your favorite team and players, coaches, whatever it may be. Let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So this is something that I don't think was talked about enough from Saturday. And I tweeted these observations, got a lot of interactions, and I think it was cool. But I tweeted 4 observations. 1, 2, 3, 5 observations. Sorry, I can't count. And I'll just run through them, give you a quick breakdown of why it caught my attention and why I think it should change or won't change. For starters, Jaheim Oatis, Alabama transfer, who I'm sure was and this is the hard part about the new transfer portal era. I know Colorado's not spending as much as other programs, but you know Colorado's spending a little, right? You're paying some of these guys to transfer here. And I think Jaheim Oatis was probably one of the more expensive transfers, and I don't think they got their ROI yet, return on investment, right? Jaheim Oatis has not been the player on the practice field or in games that Colorado's hoped for. What I mean by that is he played 9 snaps against Delaware, right? Jaheim Oatis is a behemoth of a person, 6'5", like 330. He's someone who I thought, and I've been told this countless times, All-American potential, but work ethic of someone who's just happy to be there. It just really isn't. I mean, I don't even know if he's happy to be there sometimes. Not everything has clicked for him, and it's unfortunate because he's talented, right? He's probably talent-wise arguably the best player on Colorado's roster. But when it comes to determination and drive, he's not that, right? Jaheim Oatis is not doing what Colorado was hoping for. And until he sort of shows like that he could be, until he shows that like he gives any you-know-whats about playing football for Colorado, I expect to see this snap count for him, right? He made a nice play against Georgia Tech, but they didn't play him all of the whole game. And obviously he's in the interior defensive line, so I don't expect him to play like 70 snaps, but I just thought he'd have a bigger role. And he's been one of the bigger disappointments through the first 2 weeks, in my opinion. And clearly that indicates to me that he's not doing everything he needs to do. Next, Dre'Lon Miller. Dre'Lon Miller has sort of been tabbed as like one of Colorado's stars, and we're not getting that from him. He had a drop on Saturday. He had a drop last week, and he just sort of is – it's not working, right? On the year, he has 3 catches for 14 yards. I think Dre'Lon Miller would be best suited as a running back, honestly. I just don't really know why it's not working. I'm not sure if it's him, the quarterbacks and him don't have a connection, if it's just the play calling doesn't work in his favor. It's just one of those things where the whole offseason we hyped up Dre'Lon Miller as a guy who, and he's been starting, right? He's been starting over Quentin Gibson, Isaiah Harge, other guys like Hakeem Williams, Jack Hastera. He's been starting over them. And it's like, but why, right? Why is he starting over them when he hasn't shown the ability to make plays in his limited opportunities? Why is Colorado not making it a point to get him the ball? I think there's just a lot of questions there. He's someone who I thought would have a bigger role, and it's just not working out. I do think that he said that he's been getting reps at running back earlier in the season. I would like to see that, honestly. With Dallin Hayden status up in the air, I think Colorado's running back room is coming along, and I think it wouldn't hurt to have another body in there. And I think right now, from what we're seeing from Dre'Lon Miller as a receiver, I think he would do more good for the team at running back. So other players like Quentin Gibson, Jack Hastera could possibly get an opportunity to get more run. Next observation, London Merritt led the team in quarterback hurries. It didn't matriculate into a sack, but I think it sort of shows how deep Colorado's pass rushers will be, right? You have Alexander McPherson, who it wasn't on defense, but blocked a punt, effort play. You have Keaton Wade. You have Arden Walker, who I haven't really been super impressed with this year. I think he has it in him. We just haven't seen it. Samuel Kunlola has, he was out, but I don't know if he necessarily was he hasn't been what I thought, at least in that first game. So London Merritt is taking advantage of the opportunities. And I think by the end of the year, London Merritt may be a key contributor for this defense. I like what I'm seeing from him. When you lead the team in quarterback hurries, that means you're obviously doing something right. You're making plays, you're putting in the effort, you're putting in the hustle, you're making the hustle plays, and that's what Colorado needs, right? You need to be tenacious, you need to get to the quarterback and get them off platform and get them out of their comfort zone and maybe make them move their eyes around. And then lastly, my observation, and this is the hard part about PFF. I'm not trying to base all of my analysis on PFF grades, but on how they performed. But Colorado's highest graded offensive lineman from the starters when it came to rushing offense was 62.3. Now, let me compliment sandwich this. Although they struggled blocking-wise when it comes to the run game, pass blocking-wise, they had an 84, an 82, an 80, a 75, and a 68. So very, very much improved. Granted, it's Delaware. They're undersized. I don't think they've figured out the run game yet. I don't know how to figure out the run game. That's not my job to figure out the run game. That's Pat Shurmur's. But I do think the offensive line needs to figure it out, how to get more of a push and create more for these running backs, right? Simeon Price has surprised me a lot. Micah Welch has played well. And I think DeKalin Taylor, is doing well with his snaps, right? DeKalin Taylor, whether it's as a receiver, as a running back, he's taking advantage of the reps he gets, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's if you just sort of break down how Colorado ran the ball this past week, though, clearly Simeon Price and DeKalin Taylor were the two most effective. 9 for 55 for Simeon, 6.1 yards per carry, 7 for 48, 6.9 yards per carry for DeKalin, right? So I think we need more physicality, more of a forward push from the offense line. It's much better than last year's offense line, I can tell you that. But there's still room for improvement. Tell me something you've observed about the Colorado Buffaloes. Tell me something that you've seen. Tell me something that you liked, you disliked about the Buffs moving forward. When we come back, the Buffs are underdogs against Houston. Let's talk about why. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by The Game Cap. Quick question for all you college football fans out there. If you could go back in time and sit front row to your school's biggest rivalry game, what hat would you be wearing? Yes, I said hat. For me, it would be The Game. These aren't just hats. They're the same vintage style hats that fans wore back in the 80s and 90s. And guess what? They still go for the same price they did back then. When you use code LOCKEDON, you'll get a vintage hat for $16.99. Head to thegamecaps.com. Grab your team's classic bar or retro circle design and use code LOCKEDON for an exclusive discount because legends wear the game. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, all that jazz. The Buffs are underdogs again. They play the Houston Cougars on the road, and Houston has opened as 4.5-point underdogs. The over-under set at 44.5. Houston has not impressed me through the first couple weeks. They've been kind of lethargic against Stephen F. Austin and Rice. Connor Weigman has I think he's been solid. He's not the 5-star that I thought. He's not the 5-star that I think a lot of people thought he'd be, like 5-star caliber, where it's just like 300-yard plus every game. Houston solid, though. Good defense. They're physical. They can throw the ball. Effectively, but they're not going to bust it open with the passing game. Why are the Buffs underdogs, though? This is what I wanted to talk about. For starters, you pretty much gave up 400 yards of offense against a team that's new to the FBS. Your quarterback situation is as murky as it gets. And I feel like every week we see a new team, right? We see a team that's getting pushed around and defensively in the trenches. I don't think the linebackers that good or have played that well. And I just think that there's a lot of unknowns about Colorado right now. I think there's just been so much changing where the safer bet feels to go, and this isn't me saying I'd bet against Colorado. I think they're going to beat Houston. But I think the odds makers are thinking, you know what? This team is just so all over the place. It's probably better for us to just be safe and go with the home team, who's 2-0, hasn't looked elite by any means, but they've handled business. And that's sort of how I think the odds makers process this. Now, I think this game could be not a statement win for Colorado because I expect them to win, but depending on how things go, I think this could be a step in the right direction, a momentum building win for Colorado, because you lose a close one against Georgia Tech, and now you have an opportunity to beat a P4 conference team, start 1-0 in Big 12 play, and just continue to solidify yourself as a Big 12 contender. So that's why I think Colorado's an underdog. You give me one reason why Colorado's an underdog, because I just think there's so much unknowns with them still. So appreciate you guys for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. And I will see you guys tomorrow with Jordan Dominic. And we will also be doing our Locked On Insiders program, which I will put the link below. Make sure to sign up. The first 2 weeks are free, which is really cool. You'll get film breakdowns. You can text us one-on-one questions, whatever it is. It's going to be awesome. So appreciate you guys, and I will see y'all tomorrow.